Are you at home all the time, not doing anything productive? Then why not change your life and learn the language you always wanted to learn for years? Come on, you know you should do it. And that's how I decided to get back into learning Japanese again, because of this guy. I've learned the language on and off for some time now, but I've never reached a point where I can say I'm fluent enough. Especially my reading skills are poor. Or to say it with my wife's polite Japanese words,
あなたの日本語はもう十分だよ.
And now I'm working from home a lot. This means I have more time on my hands that I would usually spend commuting. So I decided to get back into it. I'm convinced that when it comes to language learning, there are many ways to reach the goal. But eventually, when it comes to reaching a high level of fluency, there's one factor that's most important. And that is how much time you spend with your target language. A number that comes up often when talking about reaching a high level of skill is 10,000. In traditional martial arts, we say it takes 10,000 days to reach a good foundation in the art. In piano, it takes 10,000 hours of practice to become a professional. And according to AJET, it takes 10,000 hours of immersion and 10,000 sentences to become fluent in Japanese. Wait, what's AJET? AJET stands for All Japanese All the Time, and it's a framework for learning Japanese. The basic idea is, since you need to spend a lot of time with the language to get to a high level, why not do that all the time to get to that high level faster? Sounds pretty radical. Don't you have a job and a life? Good point. That's why I've decided to go with MIA, which is, I think, a bit less drastic and more accessible. MIA is an offspring of AJET and stands for Mass Immersion Approach. The idea is probably pretty similar. In order to get to a high level of skill in a language, you need to immerse yourself a lot. One idea that stuck with me is, if you immerse yourself actively in a language, eventually you will become fluent in it. However, there are some tools and ways to speed up the process. For example, use an SRS. SRS stands for Spaced Repetition System, which is essentially flashcards on steroids. Or in other words, it will allow you to learn a lot of things more easily. There are a couple of apps out there, but the most popular one is probably Anki. It's available for free on desktop and Android and about $30 on iOS. Now, what should you use Anki for? For example, when kickstarting your reading with remembering the kanji. Remembering the kanji is a learning system for remembering the meanings and writings of Japanese kanji characters with relative ease, using mental images and an optimized learning order. This will then allow you to easier recognize characters later when you discover them in the wild and assign readings to them. However, even with this method, learning 2,000 to 3,000 characters is pretty exhausting and many people will quit in the process. That's why Matt and Yoga, the guys behind MIA, made it even easier for learners. They created Recognition Remembering the Kanji. This is an Anki deck of Remembering the Kanji flashcards, again with stories or mental images and an optimized learning order. Only this deck only focuses on the meaning of the characters. It also only contains the 1,000 most common of them. So if you do, let's say, 25 cards a day, then you are done in 40 days. And then you can start sentence mining. This means when you discover a word you want to learn, for example when watching a Japanese YouTube video, you make a flashcard for it. Not for the word itself, but for the actual sentence that it's inside of, so that you get a little bit of context on how to use it. The first couple of thousand times the front of the flashcard can be in Japanese and the back in English. Then slowly you should remove the English and use a Japanese explanation instead. Ideally, these sentences should only extend your knowledge one word at a time. So for each sentence there should be only one new word inside. If it's more than that, then it will be too exhausting to learn them. And this brings me to probably the most important point. If you want to succeed in such a massive undertaking like learning Japanese, discipline is not enough. It needs to be fun. As the name Mass Immersion Approach indicates, the biggest tool you have is immersion. And that can be anything. For example, I like watching YouTube videos a lot. So recently I created a new channel, and because I'm in Japan, I only get Japanese recommendations anyway. Now I spend my evenings watching how to make better videos and DIY shows in Japanese. If you're not in Japan like me, you can just use Google Translate and translate a topic you're interested in and search for it on YouTube. Then watch a couple of videos, subscribe to a couple of channels, And very soon YouTube will optimize your content to be Japanese. Also on Netflix you can search for shows that have Japanese audio. A link to the search is in the description. When it comes to reading, you can use anything. Physical books or manga, or maybe a Kindle. And also many manga are available online. For example, the one I like is the original One Punch Man webcomic. So this is my plan for the next months. First, do the recognition remembering the kanji deck in the next weeks. Also, change most of my media input to Japanese. Thankfully I'm in Japan already, which gives me an advantage for passive immersion. Next, once I'm done with recognition remembering the kanji, learn the readings of 1500 basic words using normal Japanese textbooks. Then start sentence mining. Of course there's a lot more to Mia than what I have talked about now, but I hope this gives you a rough idea. It also has stages from 1 to 5, but for now I will start in the beginning. I will update you on my progress in a couple of months. You might also be at home now with a lot of time on your hands. I want to challenge you. Do like I do and continue a task you have been postponing for too long. If you don't have any, learn Japanese with me. Share your goal with me and the others in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you next time.